When I say I don't want to fight Mexican, it's because I represent Mexico.
I feel like Canelo's a fucking pussy.
Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. You know, I mean, the end is there for Canelo.
David Benavidez has made it very clear that he is fully focused on his goals and determined to keep pushing forward without giving his opponents any room to doubt his intentions or his path in boxing.
Be the most feared fighter in boxing. Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying, you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude who fights like that. Oh, Canelo's ducking him. This dude's a monster. And I looked and I thought, am I right or wrong about that?
No, you're definitely right. You know, you're looking at a man that's not going to let anything outside the ring, you know, mess with his game. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not scared of nothing. You know, I accept and I invite war. You know, so if that's what the people of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia want to see, well, let's give it to them. I think everybody is starting to see that I'm fearless, I'm relentless, and I'll fight anybody to get my respect in the ring.
After seeing Canelo Alvarez lose fight Terence Crawford, he became...
After watching Canelo Alvarez face a defeat against Terence Crawford, David Benavidez became more outspoken and direct, strongly calling for a fight and claiming that Canelo has been avoiding the matchup for a long time, saying this is a challenge that has followed Canelo for years and one he has not stepped up to face.
On Canelo, and he was talking about how he didn't want to give David Benavidez the fight because he was being disrespectful.
When you look at the history of Canelo, all the fighters that was disrespectful, calling them out, and he fought all of them. But I just think from a Mexican standpoint, one being extra disrespectful towards the other, he took the sport out of it, and he just felt as if he wasn't going to give Benavidez the payday that he wanted.
Benavidez.
A few weeks ago, the boxing world was shaken when Terence Crawford moved up in weight and delivered a dominant performance that made Canelo Alvarez look surprisingly vulnerable. It was not just a simple defeat, it was a clear one-sided display that changed how many fans see Canelo's current level and slightly reduced the aura he had built over the years. Even experienced trainers like Ronnie Shields suggested that Canelo may no longer be at his absolute peak, adding more debate about where he stands in today's boxing world.
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter because I know that elevates me and who I am as a competitor.
While Oscar de la Hoya gave a detailed explanation of where Canelo went wrong, the moment was bigger than just another fight discussion because it marked a long-awaited shift in the boxing scene. And in an exclusive talk with Inside the Ring, David Benavidez praised Terence Crawford for his historic achievement, saying he respected how Crawford moved up 3 weight classes to become an undisputed champion, even calling him someone who deserves a place among the greatest in boxing history, and he also highlighted Crawford's toughness and fighting spirit, suggesting that many fighters could learn from his determination and mindset.
Really like to bash somebody because at the end of the day, I give respect to Canelo. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
But wanting to fight him, David, is not bashing him.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram. Right. If I say something, they say this or that. But I only want what I earned.
Right.
And I'm entitled to it. From what the WBC told me, they say you win the title limiter, we'll give you a title shot. You win the WBC interim title, we'll give you a title shot. I've been in this position for 3 years. So just because Canelo, he could do what he wants, as he says,
right,
he's not going to fight the top competition. And he's holding all those belts hostage, bro. And it's not like you got other great fighters too. You got me and David Morrell's there. Yeah. How is it fair that these sanctioning bodies let him pick and choose who he wants to fight? And then the Canelo fans too that be talking shit, bro. Like, do you guys not want to see the best fights?
Right.
Like, I don't understand. I'm just trying to make the best fights happen. And that's it. At the end of the day, I just want to give the fans what they want to see.
Yeah.
The conversation wasn't simply murmurs. It was concrete.
reports circulated of an astounding $70 million offer made.
Long before the major breakthrough performance from Terence Crawford, David Benavidez had already been actively calling out Canelo Alvarez, repeatedly pushing for a fight while Canelo stayed away from that matchup, turning Benavidez into a constant and unavoidable presence in the super middleweight division long before Crawford's rise to the spotlight.
Everybody has been in front of me, and Canelo's no different. And I will hurt him too, and I'll take all his belts. It's crazy that he asked for 150 million or 200 million to fight me, but he still has the nerve to say that I don't bring nothing to the table. So if I didn't bring nothing to the table, why are you asking for more money than you won in your whole career if I don't mean anything? Maybe after he gets that money, he can buy himself a pair of balls. What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him shit and they're happy with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, if you hold all the titles, you got to fight the best in the division. I'm #1 in the division, #1 contender. The second one is David Morrell. He's not fighting me, nor he's not fighting David Morrell. So it makes no sense. How is he going to call himself the champion and have all these belts if he doesn't fight the #1 or the #2 guys? Why is he asking $200 million? Why, when they bring my name up with him, that's the most money he's going to make. When he fought Amir Khan, he outweighed him at like 25 pounds. But, you know, I think it's just he's running out of excuses and running out of things to say, but that's just how it is. I guess that's when you're the cash cow, you can do whatever you want.
However, once Benavidez consented, the phone went silent. No answer, no negotiation, just deafening stillness. This wasn't just talk from an inexperienced challenger. Benavidez earned his position by walking through fire. His two most memorable recent performances cemented his claim. First, he ruthlessly defeated and dominated Caleb Plant.
For years, David Benavidez has been seen as a serious threat in the super middleweight division, holding a WBC title position and maintaining an undefeated record with a strong knockout rate, while consistently pushing himself as the main challenger to the long-standing dominance of Canelo Alvarez, keeping pressure on him as one of the most direct and dangerous opponents in the division.
Canelo, Benavidez, if they fought, which I don't think they're going to fight no time soon, who you think will win?
Man, that's hard to say. I think both have pros and cons. You know, I feel like the things that Canelo does better than David, there's things that David does better than Canelo. In a way, I'm not comparing it to this fight, but it's like the better be of Bivol fight. You can say who you think is going to win. You can't say like, oh man, I'm surprised that Bivol won, or I'm surprised that Better Be of won. You're like, man, that's a damn good fight. So-and-so won. So kind of how I feel about the David and Canelo fight, like who had the best camp, who has the best game plan, who slept the best the night before.
And it's not much that separates guys at that level.
If David can get on him with his combinations and not give him room to breathe, then, you know, that's probably a night that David gets his hand raised. You know, if Canelo is able to slow the pace down a little bit and catch him with a big shot, David's been dropped before from an off-balance shot. He wasn't really hurt, but, you know, would you be surprised if Canelo stopped him? You know, no. So it's hard to say.
He pondered on his path and
the conversation wasn't just speculation, it was backed by real talks behind the scenes. Reports claimed a massive $70 million offer was put on the table for the fight against Canelo Alvarez, while David Benavidez also revealed he had been offered a fixed $5 million deal to help make the matchup happen.
It's not that important to me to be the next face of boxing, and beating Canelo, I think, really mattered.
However, once David Benavidez agreed to move forward, everything suddenly went quiet, no replies, no progress, and no real negotiation, just silence that raised more questions than answers. This wasn't coming from an untested fighter, though, as Benavidez has already proven himself at the highest level. His reputation was built through dominant performances, including a decisive win over Caleb Plant in a heated rivalry fight, followed by another commanding victory over Demetrius Andrade, about so one-sided that it forced the opposing corner to bring things to an early end.
I'm going to keep winning. You know, like I said, I'm going to be the greatest in my generation by the time I'm done, and my job is not complete until I make that happen. For Canelo and everybody else, it just shows everybody I'm not f***ing around. I'm here to stay. I just look at the facts. You know, the people want to see this fight more than Carlos Adames and Charlo. You know, that's why that fight hasn't happened. But for me and Canelo, we have motion. You know what I mean? I've been winning the fights I'm supposed to win in fantastic fashion. He has nobody else to fight. You know what I mean? So if they want to give it to me now, later, whenever, I'm not going nowhere.
For years,
He reflected on his journey and said that ever since he was young, he had only one goal in life, to become the greatest boxer of all time, and he remains fully committed to achieving it, explaining that this mindset is what drives him to chase the biggest names in the sport and take on the toughest challenges without hesitation.
Time the new guy steps up that says, I am the new guy to carry that torch forward.
Kind of like how when you beat Tyrone Woodley, because you were the guy coming up and Tyrone Woodley was a dominant champion for a long time and you beat the shit out of him. It's the same thing. I'm preparing very hard for this fight whenever it does happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I stay training, I stay evolving as a fighter. Not only do I want to prove to the fans, but I want to prove to myself that I'm the best in the world. So if the fight comes, good. If it doesn't, it's not the end of my career. And if he doesn't want to give me the opportunity at 168, that's why I'm going up to 175 right now. Because I'm not going to wait for nobody either. This fight's going to put me at the #1 contender to fight for the WBC title. And those are going to get unified in 175. So, like I said, dreams always come true. It doesn't matter if somebody else is trying to stop you. You're going to find your own way and you're going to make your dreams come true.
To be honest with you, man, let Terrence Crawford live. That's his weight class.
Okay.
I lost interest in 168 a long time ago. I know that we could get offered a lot of money to go down to 168, but I'm more comfortable at 175. I'm chasing better beef. I'm chasing Bivol. I'm chasing these other bigger. I'm chasing Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. You know what I mean? So I've been at 168, but I have no interest in.
And what followed next only added more tension and excitement to the entire situation, raising the stakes even higher and keeping the boxing world waiting for what would happen afterward.
Yeah, you fight, but you avoid the monster. You understand me? That's going to tank the rest of his career if he keep trying to fight. Well, it's tough to say because he's made enough money that he can retire. He really has nothing else to prove. We saw him go up. He did but he tested himself all the way up as far as he could go. He won the light heavyweight title, then he lost to Bivol. So that shows that the light heavyweight was his ceiling. And that's good enough. Really, right now, he got nothing else to prove. Of course, if you keep fighting, people going to demand you fight the monster because both you guys are Mexican. But to me, you probably shouldn't do that. You understand me? It's probably not a good fight for you at this point, for real, especially coming off a loss to Terrence Crawford. It's just, to me, I don't see the hunger there to really beat the monster. You understand me? And that's what my problem was already. I didn't think it was a good fight for him because I don't think the hunger is there. Terrence Crawford just showed us that the hunger is really not there anymore like that. You understand me? So you have to be extraordinarily hungry to go out there and beat the monster because you got to put pressure on him from round 1 to round 12 or it's not going to work. And if you're not hungry, you're not going to do that. Same thing he would have had to do to Terrence Crawford. He had to put pressure on him from round 1 to round, I'm talking about solid pressure, no space between them. He had to be in his chest for 12 rounds, but he ain't hungry enough to really do that. So if you're not hungry enough to do that, don't go waste your time. Just call it a day because everybody gonna want to see you fight the monster. I don't know if they're gonna be cool with you fight anybody else, but they're gonna keep pushing the monster narrative at you. You feel me? Now, if he wants to have a few more fights for himself, that's cool. But then he gonna get very tainted with the fact they're gonna say, yeah, you fighting, but you avoiding the monster. You understand me? That's gonna tank the rest of his career if he keep trying to fight. So it's better for him to just call it.
However,
Canelo's silence only fueled David Benavidez even more, leading to stronger and more direct comments in interviews. In an inside-the-ring conversation, when asked about how Canelo Alvarez has responded to his constant call-outs, Benavidez said bluntly that Canelo is scared of him, and questioned why, if Canelo sees him talking openly, he doesn't step in and make a statement in the ring where it matters most and take the fight for both legacy and money. He also pointed to Canelo's past struggles with strong opponents like Dimitri Bivol as part of his belief that Canelo avoids certain dangerous styles, while adding that he himself brings more than just power and speed, but also heart and pressure that opponents struggle to handle. Benavidez said he has no fear of facing elite fighters because he believes every big fight makes him better, and he feels that if Canelo truly had confidence in beating him, the fight would have already happened, but now, in his view, that opportunity has already been missed.
Wait.
At the end of the day, he should have took the fight with me way back then because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. He has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this. I'm getting all this confidence. I'm stepping into my prime. I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to. Every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight, and like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there. I tear everybody.
This was not just talk. It was a clear proclamation of intention. But there were further layers to this complicated boxing chess match. The protracted issue also includes a delicate dance of weight classes and the reluctance of other elite boxers. Benavidez has lately ventured into the light heavyweight division, making a strong statement about his comfort and ambition there. In the interview, when asked explicitly if he could still make 168 pounds, Benavidez flatly denied it. "To be honest, guy, you should let Terence Crawford live. That is his way. I lost interest in 168 a very long time ago." He clearly stated his present focus. "I'm more comfortable and I'm chasing beater beef. 175 I'm hunting Bible. You know, I'm hunting the bigger ones. I'm pursuing sub." Ramirez said cruiserweight.
If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You think he's on
steroids.
steroids?
Of course.
Sure.
How does five?
You saw De La Hoya call him out.
How do five people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
Call for David Benavidez once this fight is done. Is that a fight that you can see happening before the end of your career?
Look, I never say no to anything. We'll see later. But I'm focused 100% on this fight.
Is there a possibility, or you just go one at a time and you also speak with your team?
Yeah, I go one at a time, but every is a possibility. Always.
Right.
But I've been in this position my whole life. One was that was in Toronto in 2012, 11. Then Mayweather, then Lara, then Cotto, then Callum Smith, then Golovkin, and then if I beat Benavidez, it's gonna be other guy there they want me to fight. Right. I've been in this position my whole life, but is that time when that fight they ask, I give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But right now in this position I am, now is the time I need to ask. If the money is right,
This development shifted the entire narrative around Canelo Alvarez, with growing talk that David Benavidez could eventually outgrow the division where Canelo currently holds major titles. At the same time, after the historic win by Terence Crawford, his trainer Brian "Bo-Mac" McIntyre dismissed any idea of a future fight with Benavidez, saying they were not interested in that matchup, which added another layer to the situation and left Canelo in a position where the biggest potential blockbuster fight of the era seemed even harder to avoid, despite growing public demand.
Crawford, by unanimous decision. He got that. I just thought Crawford was too fast for Canelo. Too many combinations. Canelo doesn't jab anymore. He looks for one shot now. The end is there for Canelo.
However, there is a powerful new player affecting these high-risk decisions. Turki Al-Sheikh, the strong chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, is swiftly altering the boxing world with enormous financial resources. Al-Sheikh wields enormous power, and he hasn't been bashful about teasing huge bouts. In a stunning post, even suggested a super middleweight fight between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez. An exciting prospect that might completely sidestep Canelo. The Saudi-backed push for huge matchups adds another layer of complexity since the Canelo Alvarez Santos Saul Canelo Alvarez Barragan is a Mexican professional boxer. He has held multiple world championships in 4 weight classes, from light middleweight to light heavyweight, including unified titles in 3 of those weight classes. Alvarez became the first boxer in history to become the undisputed super middleweight champion, before becoming a 2-time undisputed super middleweight champion, and he also held the Ring Magazine super middleweight title from 2 more. Financial incentives have increased dramatically. So that's it for today's video. If you loved it, remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell symbol so you don't miss any future videos. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment area. Stay tuned and we'll see you in the next.